If you go to John 1 and verse 1, it's that wonderful prologue to the Gospel of John, one of the most beautiful pieces of literature and one of the most telling of who Jesus Christ is. In the beginning was the Word. That is Jesus Christ. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. Verse 3, the one important for today. All things were made through Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. I want you to notice there how many times the word made. All things were made through Him, was not anything made that was made. You think He was trying to stress something? Anytime you see a word happen over and over in the Bible, hermeneutically speaking, how do you interpret that? That this is something the writer is attempting to stress. You see it 3 times in one sentence, you can guarantee the writer is trying to stress a point. Was nothing made that wasn't made through Jesus. Now, Colossians 1, if you'll go to Colossians with me. Colossians. Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians. General Electric Power Company, if you need to remember that. It's a little easy. It's 4 small books. Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. The context here, the pronouns are referring to Jesus Christ. It says, for by Him, Jesus Christ, all things were created. In heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through Him and for Him. Now last week we focused on the for Him part. This week we're going to focus on the through Him and by Him. And I want you to allow me a few observational notes, if you will. Because we've just looked at 3 different passages that are all saying something very important. They're all saying the same thing. Jesus as Creator. That is what they are indicating. We looked at the passage in Hebrews, we looked at the passage in John's Gospel, and we looked at the passage in Colossians. 3 different authors are expressing to us the same truth. The author of the Gospel of John is John the Apostle. John, who some call John the Revelator, because he was the one who God revealed, and he wrote down the book of Revelations. That's John who wrote those words. And then we have Paul, the great apostle, the apostle to the Gentiles, who wrote Colossians. And then we have the unknown writer of Hebrews, but the book of Hebrews having the authority that has been given to it by God. So we have 3 different books here, all expressing the same truth about Jesus as Creator. And each one, this is the important part, each one uses a different word to describe what Jesus did in creation. I do not throw out big words to show anyone any level of intelligence. Ms. Hoffman and I had to talk about this week because there was a minister on television who said, oh, pastors who use Greek words just trying to show you how smart they are. I don't care how smart you think I am. But there are sometimes important phrases that we don't understand unless we understand the language underneath. Okay? You can think I'm as dumb as you want or as smart as you want. That doesn't matter to me. I'm just here to teach the Word. So don't let anybody tell you any different. I want to tell you the 3 words that are used are very important. The first one, John uses the word egeneto, and it is from the root word genomai, and it means to come into existence. So literally, in John's Gospel, it says, all things came into existence by Christ. Literally, they weren't, and now they were. They didn't exist, and then they did exist. By whom? By Christ. That is very important that we understand that word. But if you go over to Paul, Paul uses a different word. He uses katidzo. The word katidzo means literally to found or to form something. Someone comes to a deserted island where there is nothing and they build a city. They found a continent, katidzo. To find or to come into being is John's language, but to form or to shape it is Paul's language. So literally we see that which didn't exist came into existence by Christ, says John, and that which wasn't formed and had no shape or meaning was given form, shape, and meaning by Christ, says Paul. And then you move one step further to Hebrews and an entirely different word, the word poieo. And the word poieo means to author. I love that one because it's not just that He brought it into existence, it's not just that He formed it, but that He authored it. He ordained it. It was a thought in His mind that He put into being. That's what you think about, right? When I say, who authored this book? Well, how did it become authored? It was first a thought in the mind of the author, and then it became a book because the author put his thoughts onto paper. Likewise, the existence in which we are now in was authored by and through Christ. The point of this is simple. Jesus is the Creator. God the Father, through the instrument of God the Son, created the world. We see this throughout the New Testament. Jesus brought all things into existence. Jesus founded the world, and Jesus authored our very lives. That's the language that's being used. And what I want to do this morning, as I said, all this is just introduction. I want us to look at 3 ways that Christ's ministry on earth paralleled His work in creation. Okay? That's our goal. I want to look at 3 ways that Christ's ministry here on earth, when He came in the form of a man, when He was born through the incarnation of the Virgin Mary, when He came and He walked on the earth, when He walked in those sandals, He displayed for us 3 ways in which His creation, Him being Creator, was shown in Him being a man. And I want to show you those 3 things. If you have your notes, they're on the back of your bulletin. Number 1, He produced matter out of nothing. I put a little Latin phrase in there because that phrase is important. The phrase ex nihilo means out of nothing. That is important because one of the most important concepts in studying creation is that God, when He created out of His own power. He didn't take a primordial soup and mix it together and make something. God literally spoke existence out of nothing because He has the power of being within Himself. This ain't getting you like it's getting me, I don't think. Because the power of being is within God. The very power of existence. This is why God is not bound by time and space. Because time and space is a thing and God is the Creator of all things. In Him is time. In Him is space. In Him is matter. In Him are molecules. It is all in Him. This is why Jesus said, you can't connect to the Father, for the Father is Spirit. Meaning that there's this, God is so different than what, He is holy, He's separate. The only way you know the Father is through the Son. The Son has revealed Him. Getting excited now. I have to relax, calm down, back up. God is the only one who can produce something out of nothing. Because He has the power of being within Himself. He has the power to create within Himself. Man can manipulate creation. Man can take creation, mix it together, and make something new. But man cannot create anything. One of the greatest little stories, and I know some of you have heard this little joke before, but the scientist who told God, We don't need you anymore. We can now do everything you can do. And God said, okay, let's have a man-making contest. And the scientist said, okay. He said, but here's the rules. You got to do it the same way I did it. You got to do it with nothing but dirt. And the man said, no problem. And he reached down and grabbed a handful of dirt. And God said, no, no, no. You get your own dirt. We can't create anything. All we can do is manipulate what has been created. We can form it. We can shape it. But we don't create anything. But Jesus did.